economies are so interlinked, US and China, and I understand your antagonistic scenario that you're raising, but there are others who would argue that uh, our economies are so intertwined that there's unlikely to be an all-out conflict. There might be a conflict in the Straits of Taiwan over the TSMC and so forth, as you've mentioned. Um, but is there a reason to be concerned? What's the argument for AI and AI progress to be largely dominated by democracies versus authoritarian regimes? You sort of made an argument that the central control actually helps advance the technology. But from the point of view of public benefits from this technology, what is the argument for democracy over authoritarian control over this tech?
Well, democracies are to some degree threatened by AI because democracies run on information resources, and AI is a very good misinformation source. As you know, China has solved these problems by not allowing them. So if you're a well-run autocracy, whatever that means, the first thing you would do is make sure that you don't have misinformation that could harm the regime, which is precisely what China and others have done. My personal view is quite different from the rhetoric that you hear out of Washington. My own view is that while it is absolutely true that China is developing a modern army, they're building more nuclear weapons and so forth, they are unlike Russia. They have their consensus built at a certain level, and they have concluded right now that they're too weak to go into a direct confrontation with the United States. This is my personal opinion. If you, having just recently been there, if you look at the deflation problems, there's a problem called lying down where people are not working very hard. They have a demographic challenge that's very serious. They have a credit bubble. All the things that you read about in the press are true. This is not a good time to be starting a major conflict. And whenever I'm in Beijing, I always imagine, there are all these tall buildings. There must be a building with about 1,000 people who are charged with exactly one question. If we were to cross some line with respect to Taiwan, what would the US do? And in particular, what would they do if they remove the dollar from our trading currencies? China is incredibly dependent upon the dollar as a trading regime. And until they can sort that out, which I'm sure they're working on, I think we're going to be okay. My own view of China is that we're going to have a lot of tension because they're going to push really hard. It's their nature and culture, but we shouldn't overreact beyond responding directly to what they're doing.